When we left off in the Zero issue, Achilles had made his way from peace in the afterlife to an arena, where he was left to fight alongside King Theseus against the first heroes Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Achilles had begun this fight against the arrogant Gilgamesh at the end of the Zero issue, and that's where we pick up in Elysian Fields, the Pyramid Gambit. In almost 60 pages of story, we see the new Team Hades form and begin their first round in the Abyssal Tournament of Champions together. Heracles, conqueror of the 12 labors, Theseus, slayer of the Minotaur, and Achilles, the hero of the Trojan War, must now face an opponent that has never been defeated before in this arena, the champion of Osiris, Imhotep. With the success of our first campaign, we were able to expand on this book in pretty much every way. We have doubled the size of the story. We brought in talents like Kevin Sharp and Alonzo Espinosa from Dragon Guard, Scott Rozema, and many more for various different covers and pinup art. We're also extremely excited to announce our partnership with the Special Forces Charitable Trust, for whom we are raising funds by our Support Our Troops package. Not only will this package include an Indiegogo exclusive edition of the book with a cover by Ted Lehman and Ferran Normalizo, but it will include a pinup by the very talented Justin Hunt, a UNIP patch, and a challenge book. $10 from every purchase of this tier will be donated to the Special Forces Charitable Trust. Not only helps the veterans of this very elite community in their military, but their families as well.
Oh, wow. It was a lot closer than I thought it would be. All right. So that's it on that. Welcome to the show. Let me make sure that stuff gets quiet.
So I need everyone spamming me.
Stop it. All right. Good. All right. That's quiet.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's
what
just
is that awful noise?
That YouTube is just going to keep going and going and going and going. So I need
goodness.
Quiet. All right. So welcome. So this is I'm Joe Tolliver. You're with Mike Oden and Phil Leon, and this is Comics Cast. We are doing a special behind the curtain, just reveal happy days, just that I'm finally doing something. It's kind of finally about me for once in my life. For Mike Oden and Elysian Fields, and that's pretty awesome. Decided to partner with Phil Leon. I'm going to go ahead and unmute him. We're having a little bit of some feedback, but I'll unmute him for this portion. What's happening? I lost you all. Why are you being weird? I just lost you guys. Sorry.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right. Yeah,
everything's acting weird on me today. I blame Comcast.
Yeah.
Comcast.
Oh, here we go. We're back. All right. I know you guys could see me, but I couldn't see you guys. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's his internet. Yeah. So we decided. I was just having a chat with Phil at one point. We were like, "Hey, what's going on? Let's chat." And I was like, "I'm doing this cover. Not cover, but I'm doing this pinup poster for Mike and his comic that's coming out." And we just chatted about it. I looked at some of his work, and I was like, "You know what? Your colors are freaking phenomenal." He does like some really, really rich stuff. So just asked him to do it. We're working together. So we collaborate a little bit on that. And Mike didn't know about it. So this is a little bit of a big reveal for him. So this was supposed to be a reveal cover, reveal poster for Mike and the followers on his comic book that's right now at Indiegogo. But it's also a reveal for me because I haven't actually seen what it's going to look like. So Phil's still working on it. It's been a tight deadline because I have been so slow, and it finally got to Phil, and he had about 48 hours to work on it. So he's been busting his ass. So it's much appreciated.
We just need a little background to go here is where I'm at.
Yeah. So he asked if we wanted. Oh, Comics Cast is talking to us. So Comics Cast saying, "Help, hey fellas." I think that's that might be Gerald. So
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
I was just talking to Gerald before the show because like you had mentioned that Gerald's has effectively kind of like taken over the Comics Cast studio. So initially I thought he was sending out the link and he was hosting, but he was like, no, Joe's doing that here for you guys. I was like, oh, awesome. Okay, no big deal.
Yeah, so I'm definitely stepping back, and I'm going in another direction as far as where we're always planning to go with Comics Cast, which is with the streaming app. So that's where we're going. I know we talked about it a little bit, and I think Phil's tracking. So Gerald's taking a lot of the load, and Kennedy Faye is going to be working with us, and Alton is going to be stepping in different places to help out where he can. So the community is really stepping up on Comics Cast to help us out, but it's about Elysian Fields, Pyramid Gambit. We are you met your goal, your initial goal for 2,000, which is phenomenal. But you've got a long ways to go. I know you want to do a lot of things with this book. So
yes, we really want to do. We have so much. We have so much that we want to do for you guys, and like our next one is obviously. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Joe.
No. I'm delivering you. I'm handing the baton to you for you to go with it.
Woo! So like we really want to do a lot for you guys here. Anyone that backed the Zero Issue knows that that I will deliver the product, which I think is probably like the biggest thing, and that it will be quality. Like I have a copy of the Zero Issue right here. This is our holofoil, and I want to make this as much of a thank you to the fans as possible. And so the more people that we get in here, the more that I'm able to do. And so, our next big goal is obviously 5K. And when we hit 5K, we have Luke Stone is working on trading cards for us, for the three members of Team Hades, Heracles, Achilles, and Theseus. Really excited to see how those turn out. He's a very talented artist. His work on hybrids is great, and he also just so happened to be the fantastic letterer of a certain book that I have here. He lettered our Zero Issue.
Yep.
He was absolutely fantastic,
and it was great. You sent me. I think when we first started, we chatted about Zero Issue. I think what actually happened was Jimmy Reyes sent me a message about you through an email, and he said, look, I just worked with him. I was just promoting his book. I think it'd be great for your show to get him on there. And you were gracious enough to send us a copy of your Zero Issue digital version so we could check it out. I loved it. I gave you some brutal feedback as just a consumer that had no connection whatsoever. I absolutely loved it. I think that the biggest thing about indie guys is to see their passion behind their book. And I think I've said this before on another program. I think I was actually on Jimmy's show, and I was blown away by the improvement of the quality from the artist. He's grown leaps and bounds. Yes. The writing was already solid, but you could tell that there was a lot of passion behind the book. So, I mean, it was only a few months ago that you had the Zero Issue out. So you're pumping these books out,
and that's one of my really big goals here. Is I want to constantly push out more content. But in order to do that, I have to obviously be successful. And every single time that we put out something new, I want it to feel like you're getting something even better than the last time. Like, we've got great positive feedback from the Zero Issue. Joe gave us some great constructive criticism. I don't like using the term brutal because everything that he gave me was correct. That like no book's perfect. Every book can be improved upon, and Joe picked out the things that stood out to him. And guess what? I took every single bit of everything that Joe put out there, and I made sure that I either talked to Marcelo about it or I looked for those things when I received his art. We had there was a guy, Comics with Drew, did a review of our book, and he pointed out some things. I sent that to the guy who's doing the lettering on the next book, because Luke's got his hands full now as the editor-in-chief of Terraform Comics, so he's not able to be our letterer. But right. He gave Comics with Drew gave us some tips on lettering and making sure that there's enough space to coherently do things. And like every single bit of feedback that I get is so crucial. And I love getting it. And I love, like, I'm obviously super grateful that for the most part, like, I don't think I've had a single person come up to me and be like, hey, fuck you, your book is bad. I cannot believe I wasted $20 on this piece of shit. And I've been very fortunate in that, because, you know, like, you cannot expect everybody to love your book, but at the same time, you know, the fact that, you know, our worst reviews are still positive, and it's just like, these are things that you could do to improve. And that was a huge thing for me. And I want to crank out like 2, maybe 3 books a year. Not even necessarily just Elysian Fields. I've got other projects that I've been working on as well. So like for instance, one of the next things that we'll be looking at, if this is successful, I've gotten another book that the script's already done, and I have a creative team. So like we'd probably launch that book early next year.
Yeah.
So it's again, you know, getting us to these points. Like, I would love, like, for me, I would love to hit 20K. We hit 8,829 on the first book. We were so close to 10K, but like, I genuinely believe that with the quality of the book that we have here, and everyone that we've brought in on this, and all the marketing that that me and my team we've been doing, we're really pushing this thing. And now, you know, we're doing our part, but it's now time where, like, there has to be a give and a take here. So if you're watching this and you're looking for a reason to get on this, it's just a fantastic book. And, you know, if you're on that mailing list, you're going to get a fucking beautiful pinup by these 2 badass gentlemen here. But Joe did a phenomenal. In fact, you know what, Joe? Let's not look at this. Bring out the original piece. You've got it here.
Well, I do have it. I have it on me. If you go down on these tiers, right, you can actually purchase these original pieces from the different artists, right? So we got Kevin Sharp, we've got Scott, we got me.
Yeah, and we also have Justin Hunt, but I didn't.
Oh, you don't have him up there. I thought you had him here somewhere.
We did. So like, I need to check in with Indiegogo, because I've put your thing in the and I even did this on my laptop. I put your original art in the content, and it's not saving. So that's something that I sent them a message about.
Okay. So it's there. You guys can see it. You can at least see it here. It's definitely here. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. This is the piece that you guys will have, right? And the cool thing about this is that this one here isn't the finished. So the scan here, if somebody copies this and they throw it around, this is not the original. So the original one is the one that will be sent to you. And it will have my signature on it. And I'll go ahead and solo myself out so we can see this image here. Boom.
Fantastic.
Right. And this is the actual original piece.
That is a fucking big piece.
It is.
I feel so bad. I remember when I told Joe the idea that I was having for this, he was like, wow, that's a lot. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, but it would be cool. And he's like,
cool, you're
right? You're not wrong.
No, you're wrong. But yeah, this is 19 by 24 inches.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
Multi-scan.
Multi-scan. And
oh man,
the more you get into it, the more you get to see all the gritty details and the fun, the Coliseum behind them.
This is so fucking cool. I love how you drew the Anubites.
Oh, good.
I like it. Like it is very different than how they're going to appear in the book, but I fucking love it. Like, it's such a like, that's one of those things where it's like, I like seeing artists' interpretations of things. Like, I like it. You know, I remember when Kevin was doing his cover, he asked me, like, do you have like it? Are there any things that you're going to restrict me with on this? And I was like, dude, just have a fucking blast. I'm paying you for a reason.
Yeah.
And he just goes like, oh, okay. and like, literally the first thing that he sent me when he finished, he was like, I just want to let you know this is a very refreshing experience.
Yeah.
Because usually I get like a list like this long and be like, you can't do this, you can't do that.
But with me, he was just like, I want this, and this. So that's pretty much what it was. And it was like a little scribble on a napkin. Like I kind of want it on this sort of layout. And that was it. I was like, okay, you got me on pricing this time, but only because we're pals. But that is a lot of stuff.
I'm sorry.
But Mike, freaking Kevin Sharp set the Gambit, like he set the standard.
He set a very high bar.
I said, okay. I'm gonna do it my way. It's not gonna be up to like the way you do your renders, but I'm telling you what, I'm gonna put a lot of stuff on this thing. It's gonna be huge.
It turned out fantastic, Joe. Like I'm so grateful. Like I remember when you were posting videos of you doing it live, and I had no idea that you had started it yet. And I literally saw you drawing Hades, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's perfect!" And I was just like, Phil Lockler, who I brought on to help with marketing at Nine Realms. I was like, Phil, go to Joe's Facebook page right now and share those fucking videos across everything, everywhere. People need to see this. It's so fucking cool.
You're killing me with all your F-bombs, but at some point, it is what it is.
I'm sorry. I forget that the comics casting is PG-13. So I will tone it down. I'm very excited.
I know.
I'm very excited. And I'm very tired. It's been a very long.
You've been just running the gambit on the shows. You've been running the gambit on the shows for sure.
I came off of another show to come onto this one, and so I hope I dragged like the guy was jokingly being like, "Hey man, you can't just jack my freaking my viewership like that." I was like, "I'm sorry, I have to go to another stream, and we're doing a really cool thing. I'd be doing myself a disservice. Bye," and just ran off.
Yep. And so that I did want to tell you about something else. So for you also, just for your essays, so you can use, if you want to do like a 24-hour campaign thing on Comics Cast, like that is completely 100% fine. So if you want to run like the end of the campaign and do like a long thing, that's cool. That's fine with me. It doesn't bother me at all.
That's outstanding, and we'll get that more coordinated as we get closer to that.
Yeah,
because it'll all depend on how we're looking towards. When we get down to like the last the last 5-10 days of the campaign, if we're not close to that, if we're not even close to like 10K at that point, I'm probably going to be okay. We have to extend, because there's no way that I'm going to accept making less money on this book than the last one.
Well, right. It's tough. Number one, I know everyone who's paying attention will watch later, because we don't have a huge view count right now because it's just a crazy show. It's not part of our schedule. But anyone who's watching later and watches that, what Mike is talking about is the fact that everyone who's worked on the book, it's a really phenomenal comic. It's got a lot of great artists. He's financed the book already. So
yeah, for the most part,
it's about growing the quality of the book. So I just don't want anyone to come across like, oh, Mike just wants that. It's not an arbitrary number, guys. Like most people that are in the indie scene know this, but if you're sort of new to paying attention to this sort of thing, it can come across different. I enjoyed doing the poster that you challenged me on, because for me, I tend to do a lot of fan art, a lot of just pinups that are just very basic. I've written 6 different comics, but I've not finished anything. So when it comes to complex layouts and different, like you'd already sort of had your layouts that you wanted, I thought that was just it was a good challenge for me. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do all this? So that was pretty good. Now going to Phil. Hey, Phil, how you doing, man? How's it
going over there?
How's it going as far as the digital artist side?
Oh yeah, I really liked working on it. I mean, lots of bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I-
otherwise I would have had this blasted out already. But yeah, I like the challenge too. Like I told you, it's like, yeah, I think I can pull it off. And I've come close, but almost there. I'm
The
working
pressure's
I'm-
on. The pressure's on.
I'm really excited, Phil. And Joe, if we want, we can take a look at that campaign again because I got a message from Indiegogo and they fixed the problem. It's up now.
Let's take a
Your
look.
drawing is up there on the page.
All right. So I see. Oh, it's actually up on like the page itself.
Yeah, you're probably going to need to refresh.
Oh yeah. Good. Don't act like you know me, like you know what I was doing. I already refreshed.
Okay,
No, I-
Joe. Okay, buddy.
So we're way too low. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go to the top. Oh, I saw it, but I'm gonna go down slow. All right. So we're at 2-2 right now. Very
Yeah,
good job so far.
Yeah, and we got one backer on the last stream, so
Okay,
hopefully we
great.
can get another on this one. Hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah. Back this book. I mean, look at first off the style is it's very unique and it's very consistent through the book. And seeing this panel alone, this one here, when we talked about this, and I remember talking offline about this, I was like, man, this thing is like actually that panel alone, I can tell how much it's improved since the Zero issue. It's incredible. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's outstanding. We actually one of the last interior that I showcase in this is probably one of my favorite interior sequentials that Marcelo has done. And I think that it like as much as I do think that action piece really showcases, even just from the kinetic energy between people is shown grow, but like the visual storytelling, if you scroll down, there's one that doesn't have any lettering on it. That's towards the bottom.
Towards the bottom. Okay, I keep going.
Yeah, like it's pretty far down there.
Well, then I got to skip everything.
Yeah, we'll go.
I got to get you a better image. This thing is a little rough.
It's
okay.
It serves its purpose.
Yeah.
But so this one right here is outstanding. And so like so you've got this fantastic thing of like Achilles dragging Gilgamesh's dead body, but my favorite moment in this is him dropping Gilgamesh there and that close up on his bloody hand and everything. This is absolutely vicious.
Yeah. And the layering, really great camera angles, really well done on the layout here. I really like a lot of times what artists will do, and just from an artist point of view, if you guys can see the mouse, you can see the mouse good. Okay, so I'm gonna use the mouse as like the visual aid. So a lot of times what you see is artists will focus very heavily on eye line and eye movement, and they'll use leading lines to move the eye through the page, right? So you want to go from the first panel and down. And the fact that he changed the camera to a canted view so that the background itself slid down to the next panel was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. This whole page just flows really, really well. You can see both the foreground. You can really understand what the focus point is here. So visually, the story is being told very well as a comic format. It's just outstanding. Really love it.
Yeah, as I said, man, like Marcelo is really upped the ante on this one.
All right, so tell the guys at Comics Cast a little bit about the special forces and some of the military stuff. So a lot of your guys that you have working on this, and I don't know if it was intentional on your part or not, but a lot of former military or active military. Myself, I'm active, so a lot of military guys have worked on this. So
yeah, and so that's one of those things where I think Joe and I had a pretty kindred bond when I first came on to Comics Cast, because Joe would start using all this military terminology and he'd feel like he'd have to explain it. But like, I know what you're saying. I served 6 years. I'm an infantryman. You're not saying anything. You're like, oh, thank God.
All right, let's have a go of it real quick. Okay, What I'm gonna do is before you go to the rest of it, I know you're in the middle of it. If you guys watch this, I'm gonna put it in here. I want you guys to guess what this means. I'm gonna type it in, and I'm gonna say it real quick. I'm gonna put in the comments. If you guys can figure it out, put in the comments real quick. It's household 6. You guys figure out what that is, and we'll tell you what it is in a minute. Household 6. All right, go ahead.
And so like I initially had this, you know, I had this whole thing to really, I really wanted to give back to the community, the veterans community in particular. I grew up, my dad was SF, and so, you know, I came up in a military family. I served, my brother served, and so that's always been a really big part of my life. And then, you know, I linked up with Joe doing Comics Cast, and as I said, we had this really big connection because we'd served in the military, and that kind of added to, you know, we're also like comics people, and so like that just kind of added into that bond. And Joe Joe would always, you know, we talk shop on comics and what have you, and I'd share him things. You know, I dabble in art. I'm not as good as Joe or any of these other guys, but like I would send him stuff and he'd give me notes and critiques, and it was always great working with him. And he was always like, dude, I'd love to work with you on something. Then, you know, it came time where like we're doing some sort of pre-promotion thing, and Joe was in the audience. He was like, I need to work on this book. And I was just like, Joe, do you want to do a pinup? And you were like, yes, DM me.
That was pretty exciting.
That's how that went. But then we had done a support our troops tier towards the end of the Zero issue, but I hadn't figured out where I wanted that money to go yet. Like the obvious choice for a lot of people is Wounded Warrior. And like for me, it was, I remember like a year or two ago, they had a scandal with money not going to the right places, and it's been resolved. But it was just one of those things where I didn't want to risk going with that and that experience leaving any potential bad taste in anyone's mouth. And so, as I said, you know, my dad was SF, and he runs his SF chapter, and so I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, Dad, you run your local chapter. What are some organizations that you guys work with that would be good for this?" And like without missing a beat, he's like, Special Forces Charitable Trust. And so my dad was telling me a bit about them. And the big thing for me that like really resonated when he was talking to me about it is, you know, we talk about support our troops, and it is an important thing. But the thing that really spoke to me about the Special Forces Charitable Trust was they aren't just taking care of the troops, they're taking care of their families. And that's what really spoke to me, because as important as it is for us to have reverence for these people that put everything on the line, their families, their wives, their husbands, their sons, their daughters, their fathers, their mothers, they put just as much on the line, because they accept the fact that there is a chance that when they step out that door and go overseas to fight for them, to fight for their communities, to fight for their families, there's a chance they're not coming home. And, you know, I was infantry. I didn't do any exciting deployments or anything, but I served with people that did a lot of combat. And, you know, it's an unfortunate thing where I've lost guys over the past few years, and I've seen how that's affected their families. And, you know, we all try to help out where we can. But like, to me, this was a great way, this organization that actively goes out of their way to do things like relief funds for widows, like scholarships for their kids. It spoke to me on so many levels. And so I reached out. At the moment my dad kind of finished giving me that little summary, I reached out to them like almost immediately, and I started a dialogue. And it was about a month and a half ago. We're officially partnered with them. They're doing promotion on Elysian fields as well. They're just a fantastic group of people that do so much And so then, Phil Locklear, who's done a lot of, who I brought on to do marketing for Elysian Fields, is like, I know I'm really good friends with Justin Hunt, and Justin is a huge support our troops guy. He was a veteran, a combat veteran, and he does covers for Lady Death. He's a big name. How about I introduce you guys? And so we reached. He got a dialogue going between Justin and I. Got Justin super interested in it, and then Justin and I started talking about this.
Yep.
And this actually bore a lot more than just its pinup, because this is where the unit patch and everything else is coming from. Is Justin has designed a unit patch and in tandem with that unit patch will be used as half of the face of the challenge coin. So you'd have the challenge coin would have the unit patch on one side, that's fully colored. The unit patch itself will be subdued like a deployment patch would for anyone that doesn't know what that means. Subdued is unit patches generally when they have their designs, they're colorful and everything, because it's supposed to kind of be harken back to medieval coats of arms. And so when you have it on a uniform, when you're going overseas and everything, they don't want those bright colors shining out and potentially being something that an enemy combatant can notice and what have you. It'll stick out. It goes against the whole concept of camouflage. So what they do is they make it kind of like a uniformed color that emphasizes the lights and darks within the piece. And so that is called subdued. So he's designed a subdued patch that we will use for the unit patch, and he's designed a colored version of it that we will use for the challenge coin. And so one face of the challenge coin will be that colored patch, and the other will have the Elysian Fields logo that was redesigned by Scott Rosemeyer. He did a fantastic job. That's the whole thing, is he put so much into that. And if you actually look at his pinup, you'll notice that the saw gunner that's in the front is me. He put me into the thing, and he I didn't ask him to or anything. This was anything vanity. He was just like, "Hey, look at the helmet band on that guy. He looked familiar." And I was like, it was funny because I was literally half asleep. He sent me. He's on PCT. He's on Pacific time. I'm Eastern, and so he sends this thing. It's 11:30 at night. I'm about to crash, and he's like, "Hey, that guy looked familiar." So I'm kind of groggily looking at this, and then I just jump out of my bed. And I was like, "You put me in the poster? Where'd you get that photo?" And because he put it's not even just the headband. If you look at if you find a picture of me back when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I had very pronounced cheekbones and everything. I was a lot skinnier, and then the guy next to me is Justin. And then behind him is one of the guys that he lost overseas. And then up in the clouds, we have our trinity of heroes from Team Hades. We have Achilles, Heracles, and Theseus.
Which he absolutely killed. It's stunning work. Absolutely stunning work. I love the medals.
Yeah.
Numbers aren't easy. He just nailed all of the both organic and electric elements.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he did a fantastic job, and then we agreed upon Alonso Espinoza, who is the colorist from that Dragon Guard variant and everything. That he's going to be doing the colors on this. Justin has reached out to him to give him his notes and everything, so that Alonso knows exactly what he was going for with this piece. And then the big thing about this is if you back these support our troops tiers, in the first 30 days, when you get your pinup, it's not just going to be the pinup. It's going to be signed and numbered by Justin Hunt. It's not just a pinup. It's a collector's item. And you're getting that at a really good, the base support our troops package is $50. The whole enchilada, which has that in there, as well as $120. And then the Justin Hunt original art will come with a special support our troops package as well. So you'll get the original art plus his signed pinup. Like you're getting a lot for your value here. And as I said, you know, the Justin Hunt original art, that entire price point is being donated outside of shipping, and then the support our troops and the whole enchilada, $10 per unit, is being donated to the Special Forces Charitable Trust. And then as an added thing to do it, I was called out by somebody earlier because I was having issues uploading videos during my 22 push-up challenge. So what I'm doing to make up for that is every single time we hit a multiple of 10 between whole enchilada and support our troops package, I will do 22 push-ups. Luckily, I have a new phone. My old phone was the problem. I'd literally do the videos and I'd try and upload them, and my iPhone would tell me no. And then last Friday, I had to do a memorial service for my iPhone because it literally imploded and caught on fire inside of it. So that was fun, being at work and dealing with that.
I didn't even think about this. I probably should sign it on camera. I have not signed this piece yet, actually.
Well, let's do that.
Let's see here. Check. Well, I'll do. You look at this. Old random things in my office. Look at that. Just random character I came up with that I was like, oh, she's kind of cool. I might use her.
That's awesome.
I might use her for some random thing. Just things like that was years ago.
That's how that stuff works. Elysian Fields, like literally, this is like my third or fourth rework of this, and it all started off as a bunch of nerdy kids. It's like, you know, most nerdy kids get into arguments about things like, you know, Kirk or Picard or Superman or Batman and stuff, and we would be like, well, you know, Beowulf or King Arthur, Achilles or whoever. Like it would all just be, well, actually, if you look at this classical story from this mythology, and we were very sad people. Even for middle schoolers, that was rough. And so that's kind of how this got born. It's like it is just one of those things where you have those random ideas that just come to your head, and then all of a sudden you got a script. All of a sudden you got character work. All of a sudden you have sequentials. All of a sudden you have a cover. All of a sudden you have a campaign. and now all of a sudden you have a comic book with your name on it.
All right. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it. Yeah, I'm going to put it right here. I'll put it right on the rocks here. Boom. See that rock? That rock face right in that area right there.
Fantastic. I dig it.
All right. It's going to be small. It's going to be built in because those it's on the internet, man. They always try to get you.
Well, and that's why when you were like, I'm going to give you a better quality image of that. Like, that's why I'm not super concerned, is because if some dirtbag tries to take that off the internet, take that off my page and what have you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. You got the bad quality version of it. Whoever got the original art really got the better end of that deal. And then whoever got on that mailing list and got the pinup for free. Yeah, that's all you had to do too. It's like, it's not like I made this a super difficult process. It's like, well, you have to do this, you have to get that.
It's fairly simple. And Phil and I also actually went through some fun figuring this one out. I'm gonna solo me out real quick. So we went through some scan issues initially. I try to use my high-speed phone. All right, so if you can see it, it's right there.
Yeah, I see it. That's such a great signature. Mine's just a giant cursive M.
It's JT, and then I put the year so I can always track how I do and where I'm at.
That's awesome.
So yeah. So Phil, so the bottom line on this one is just to sort of hang out, chat about the book.
Mhm.
We're in the middle of the campaign. I say we only because I did some work on it. Phil's done some work on it. It's all part of one community, but it's Mike's book.
It's your guys' like every single person that has contributed to this has had their influence on Elysian Fields, and I want that to be known. I consider like this campaign is just as much Joe's campaign as it is mine. It's just as much Phil's campaign as it is mine, because you guys all have a part in it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed
like-
playing my part. I enjoyed playing with your characters and really kind of getting in there and having some fun with it. I knew that the two main characters that were the big faces, I was like, they got to be good because they're gonna be huge.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time on them. Phil's over there is like, yeah, I'm coloring them.
I was like, yeah,
One of
I'm
them.
having all sorts of fun dealing with that. That's my fault, Phil. I was like, so I want Hades and Osiris death staring each other towards the center and all this craziness going on. And Joe's just like, what?
So how many characters do you want again? I lost count. So
I was
yeah,
like,
I love the idea that one had to be like it had a full profile, which is difficult to do and make them look really cool. So I really had to go into my treasure trove of Jim Lee inspiration and all that sort of stuff. Be like, how do I make that side profile just be so cool that people when they look at it, it's just really neat. And then you had me do the smirk with the other character. I'm just like a smirk. All right, this guy has got to look cool, but also like the next level of like douchiness.
well, and that's exactly kind of how I wrote Osiris, where he's one of the things that I really like when I've read stuff about like and seen stuff where you're like representing antiquity and what have you, and you go into like Roman Empire era Egypt, is that everyone is like so obsessed with the superior when you look at things like Cleopatra and everything. All of these people are obsessed with the quote unquote superiority of Egyptian culture. And so I kind of wanted Osiris to have that kind of vibe where, like, you know, in the story, Imhotep's never been directly defeated in the arena. What most people do is they bribe Osiris to get to the next round. And so, like, Osiris is just chilling out. Like, Hades initially goes to him to try and bribe him. And Osiris says, "You have nothing that I want. So kick rocks." And so he even makes a gamble with he even makes a challenge to Hades that is like super generous, and he's just like, I don't want you to consider this me giving pity to you so much as you understanding how much confidence I have that I'm going to annihilate you. And you're just like, oh, you're a dick.
Well, just one of the things that I do want to say thank you to everyone, the ones that have jumped on. I know it's a tough night. We have the presidential debates going on in about 20 minutes. So people are grabbing their food at the last minute. So I appreciate you guys that are on now. If you get on later and you watch this stream, you know, go ahead and ask any questions you have. We'll go over the comments later on, and we'll definitely give you guys some feedback and stuff and answer any questions you might have. What's so cool about specifically this book? Why should people be picking up this comic over other books that are out there?
We are in a time where there's just a lot of craziness going on, and I feel like everyone just kind of wants to escape into something mindless, fun, and just overall like ridiculously entertaining.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the great things about Elysian Fields is it's literally just this larger than life concept that is just utterly ridiculous. But that's the fun of it. It's like there's a tournament in the underworld that happens every 1,000 years. And every single mythology's version of their god of death or lord of the underworld has a team of heroic champions fighting on their behalf. This is just ridiculous. This is absurd. But I think that's the kind of thing that we kind of need right now, just as a way to escape the day-to-day drudgery, especially in the year of 2020, where every day there seems to be some sort of nuke drop where it's just like, oh, great, more bad news. Awesome. You're doing great, 2020. Thanks.
Yep. It's one more thing after another. And the thing is that's crazy about this that nobody is saying that kind of bothers me a little bit is that it's like, okay, everyone complains that we're stuck inside and it's been rough. There's been some terrible things that's happened to people's private businesses, small businesses are going under. It's awful. Towns across the United States are going under and being destroyed. It's rough. People don't really complain about that. They complain about some of the other things. And I'm like, well, that's kind of trivial. The only thing that I'm really worried about are those small businesses that are getting destroyed. And people are literally hurting themselves in their own house because they're isolated for so long. Exactly. But like when you look back at, years past when, journalists and people were getting blown up on trains and getting killed on like after being captured, like, and being filmed doing it, like, all of a sudden 2020, I'm looking at 2020 is not really that bad. Like, I guess I'm just old enough that I realize it's been worse.
There's been, I think that the big thing was, and that's actually a very interesting point, because like, don't get me wrong, like I think that the big thing was for 2020 is that there never seemed to be a break from it. Like in past years, like, yeah, you had terrible stuff that would happen. Yeah. But it would be like kind of spread, like these things would happen, but like it was like a plane
crash or something like that.
Yeah, oh man, that sucks. Or like you had the Charlie Hebdo incident in France, and like this, that, the other, and you'd be like, oh man, these things are really rough. What a world we live in, huh? But like we never even got the chance to digest stuff like that this year. It would be like even and like it. Because like that's the thing is that those trivial things are sometimes they mean the world to people, and like it seems trivial, but like there's that fantastic line in The Crow where Brandon Lee is at Ernie Hudson's house, and he's talking to him, and Ernie's character is going through the divorce and everything. And he's like, back when I was alive, Shelley used to think the world of this, that, and the other. And I would always think, oh, well, that's just trivial. And I'm like, but now I realize none of it was trivial. It's all important. And so these smaller things, these smaller crises, they seem like nothing, but when you compound them with all these other, all the big stuff that's happening, it's just, when can we get a break? And that's really, I think,
I see your point. So it's like compounding. It's like compounding interest. It just keeps coming.
Exactly. It's like, man, I really didn't appreciate getting kicked in the nuts, but now you're punching me in the face too, and then you just elbowed me in my neck, but then you flicked my nose. Like it's just like.
Yeah. I could see that. There's a lot of arguments on how people. It's just we live in an information age, and you see everything all the time, and you're going to see whatever people want you to see, and it's rough. We don't need to go down that path.
Yeah, 100%. Like that. To bring that around to Elysian Fields, that's the beauty of it. Is it's pure fantasy. It's mindless fun. Like. Don't get me wrong. There's deeper character arcs and what have you. These are characters. I'm not just like putting down sheets of paper and having them kill one another. I have a story that I want to tell, but the overall premise is so utterly ridiculous that it's fun to get lost in. And then you pair that with the Marcelo's art, which has this very I think someone really hit the nail on the head. I can't remember where I saw this, but it has this very 90s feel to it. And it harkens back to these old books. And one of my ones that I got was we got one of the first shows I was ever on was a podcast by a vet named his podcast is called Fat, Drunk, and Stupid. And he was talking to me about it. I was like, look, I'm not even gonna lie to you. when I got my books, I went. It was a Saturday. Nobody was up in the house. I opened it and I read it, and I hadn't felt that way since I was a kid reading a comic book in the 80s or 90s.
Oh, that's great.
Like the holofoil cover just reminded me of those old, like, really cool events that I'd read, like X-Men and everything as a kid, and the action pieces and the art inside the book. It took me back, man. And I just want to say thank you for that. And it was just such a humbling experience to be on the other end of that, and, like, see how that affected somebody in that way. So if you're wondering for a reason why to buy this book as opposed to others, I'd say that. Like there are a lot of other books that are doing what I do, and I'm not going to say, oh well, my book's better than this because of this, that, the other, because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm human. I don't have infinite funds, and I haven't read every single mythology-based comic that's out there.
Right. I'm going to stop you there, though, man, because I know where you're going with this, and I'm going to rudely stop you because I think you need to also – I think it needs to be said. There's a reason why great artists are starting to move towards you.
That's fair.
I saw some great artists starting to move towards you. I saw that great cover. I think I already backed you for that cover. I want that cover.
The Dragon Guard one is top seller.
So, yeah. And there's a reason why people are following you. I'm following you just because I think you're a good guy, and I like what you're creating. I think it's good stuff. But it's not an accident people see your work and they're coming to you. So as you keep putting stuff out, it's going to keep getting better and better. And your core artist, you still got him. You didn't lose him to the next level.
He is the artist of Elysian Fields.
Yeah,
that was one of the.
How long is he going to be on the book? How many
as we keep going.
How many comics are we talking about?
Dude.
You got to give the buyers to know, hey, we're going to have 7 books
for the foreseeable future. Until we stop making money on Elysian Fields continues.
All right.
This is a tournament-based book. We're in round 1. Pyramid Gambit doesn't end with them beating Imhotep. We're still in round 1 at the end of this book.
Great. And
I've got they're about to go through, and in the book after that, what I have planned, they're about to go through a real messed up time. So I have a lot of stuff planned out for this. So long as you guys continue to help us grow and be successful, Elysian Fields isn't going anywhere.
Awesome.
There will eventually be an end. I have that plan, but it won't be for a very long time. I wouldn't be able to give you a concrete, oh, well, it's going to be this many issues.
Right. No, that's a good point. Good point. Hey, Phil, I don't want to rush you to ending on this, and knowing kind of where we're at with kind of the world right now, we don't necessarily have to go live on revealing it. This could be a part 1. Revealing this colored poster.
So if I can get enough of this taken care of without some of the little bit of extra and deep rendering, I would probably be okay with it.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we see a small kernel of what you're working on?
Okay.
And then as a tease for the next one, and we'll go ahead and tease to the next show where we'll do something either on a Saturday or something like that. Make it a big reveal date so people can see it.
Okay.
Because this poster is going out to – okay, explain the poster tier exactly how it works. Because even I did the poster, and I'm still slightly confused about how it works.
So the way that this poster tier works is if you joined the mailing list when we were in pre-launch phase – right, and I have the saved document from Indiegogo. It's a spreadsheet that has everybody that put in their emails for the mailing list before we launched. You are getting this pinup for free. This pinup will be available as an add-on perk after we reveal. I'm not going to make the add. I'm not going to.
That's the reason I don't understand it, because it hasn't been announced yet. I
No.
see.
So I don't want to put the add-on perk up there until we have the finished product.
All right.
Because I feel
All right. I'm gonna add this to stream. Are you ready, Phil?
Sure, I think I found a good spot, man.
All right.
Nice prime little piece there.
There we go.
And-
He's still working on it. He's still grinding away at it. No rush. I don't want to pressure you to get it done right now. But I think it's looking pretty good, man. It's looking pretty good. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
I know this has been sort of it was put on your plate pretty last minute. How are you feeling about it so far?
Good so far. Like I said, with my stuff, I don't mind showing a little bit ahead of time, but I do get in and do a little bit of deeper rendering on it and everything, you know. But, you know, this gives you a good idea with the color combinations and stuff. There will be a little bit of extra
it's looking
highlights as I go in some texturing down in the ground.
it looks really good, man. This is great work.
The only thing that I asked Phil, and this is I promise you this is the only thing that I will specifically ask, is if you can get some highlights on the blood splatter.
Oh yeah, that's coming too. Yeah.
All right.
You wait. I'll show you some old blood splatters I've done before.
All right, cool. Yeah, I've seen you work. I love it. I absolutely love it. What did I say? I said you reminded me of like Metal Gear Solid, not Metal Gear Solid. What was it? I can't think of that magazine off the top of my head right now.
Heavy metal.
Yeah, so I saw his work and I was like, heavy metal meets freaking Elysian Fields and old like Troy. This is gonna be freaking awesome. This is gonna work.
Yeah. Probably you saw that color submission piece I did for the thing that Richard Friend had going on, probably.
Yeah, and I was like, damn.
With the like, sci-fi looking setting, little dystopian and everything.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do full screen so you can see it. Boom. Very cool. All right. On that note, thank you so much. Hey, Phil, it's looking good. I'll say thank you guys for being on. I know this was sort of a thrown together thing. We have been talking about doing this for a while. Mike has been he has been so freaking relaxed about this because he gave me this task like a month ago. And I was like, I'll do it. I got it. You know, and then I sat there. You know what this is how I did my research. I looked across a bunch of references and some really cool inks and things I liked. And then I sat down and I watched freaking Spartacus. And I was like,
awesome.
Watch the Spartacus to get some good battle blows and stuff like this. Took a few screenshots. That's where I got sort of my that initial thrust of the weapon. That's that you see here is basically a part of that was how they would go through and attack in Spartacus. And I was like, okay, I like that full extension out and cutting that throat. So, but the problem is I got on that show and I did not get off until I was done with the show. I was like, I got to stop and actually draw. But, you know.
You've actually had a chance to watch something?
Oh, I know. I don't sleep. I'm a little bit of a insomniac. And thanks, Gerald, man. I appreciate it. Phil, Gerald's saying it's looking great. I don't want to make a big production about this, Phil, but I really want to say kudos to you. Jumping on this at the last minute. I know you'd said you were going through some stuff, and so I really appreciate you taking on this job and pushing forward on it so hard.
No problem, man. I'm enjoying it, dude.
All right,
it's looking great, man.
All right. On that note, Mike, you gonna have the last little bit, and we'll close it up.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out and watching tonight. We got a really fantastic pin up there. Phil's doing great work. Joe's original pencils and inks are fantastic, and they're for sale. So make sure you don't miss out on that either, because you saw how beautiful that thing is. It's gorgeous. So you can get the book is live currently on Indiegogo.
It's in the comment section.
Yes, it's in the comment section. We do owe you an answer, by the way.
Oh,
Joe.
right. Yeah, do you want to go ahead and say it? Household
House-
six is a military jargon term. Household six, you got to check with household six or make household six happy. There's different
which is
versions
your
of it,
wife.
but which is your wife. So you got to
Correct.
check your six, which means your backside, right? Whatever's
Yes.
behind you. So household six is basically your spouse, your wife, who takes care of everything when you are facing forward and moving forward. She takes care of everything that's behind your family and everything else. So it's an endearing term, but it's also sort of a your household six is going to slap you in the back of the head if you're not paying attention. So,
That is fair.
it's basically the perfect example of military. You know, it's a little bit of an insult,
Yeah.
but it's also very endearing at the same time.
100%.
Go back the book. It's on Indiegogo right now. I'm loving where it's at. Like Mike said, it's a tournament, so it's gonna keep going and going and going. He's got a great artist that's gonna be consistent all the way through. He's got a good standard with the lettering. It's gonna keep going through. You lost your letterer, but that's because he's
He's shooting up. Like I'm not angry at for him.
Can't be good about that. Congrats. This is just a perfect example of an indie book that is developing with a person who's willing to grind it out, and he's going to get more and more books out there for you guys to buy. So sometimes the concern is, hey, I don't really want to back this book because I'm worried I'm going to maybe get this book eventually, and then who knows, I might get another book a year from now. That's not.
And
that's
not the case here.
I've seen how some of the stuff is shipped out already. It's really cool stuff, Mike. I enjoy it, dude. Maybe a video game in its future.
Yeah.
we've got some we have some people that are like, you should do this, that, the other. So who knows what the future holds for it. Right now, I just want to make a good book.
Bingo. That's the rules, man. That's how you succeed in this for sure.
Well, anyways, gentlemen, I need to go take care of some stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I think this is a fantastic time to close out. So for me, thank you guys for watching. Back of Fields, you can find us on Twitter at Elysian Fields _0, and you can find me on Nine Realms Publishing on Facebook. So we're really excited to get this book out to you. Help us continue to make this a success and continue the Abyssal Tournament of Champions as we go forward with Elysian Fields.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Phil, for guys coming out. And thank you guys for watching. Go check out the debate. Don't do anything dangerous with any drinking games. And let's have some fun. I mean, all this should be fun. We're making comics, right? We're making comics.
Absolutely.
Be safe. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Gerald's going to have his next show this Sunday, from what I'm tracking. And I will go back to the grind of making the streaming app, which hopefully I'm really kind of shooting for January. It'll be launching with all the comics in play. We already have about 6 or 7 comic creators that want to be involved. It's going to be great. I will make sure that I come on periodically to let you guys know where we're at with it. But for the most part, Gerald's going to be the guy in charge for all the media stuff. So go blow up his inbox. Go blow up his inbox. Don't blow up mine, because I'm just going to send it over to Gerald anyway. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I had a great time with the pinup. It was fantastic. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Mike.
No problem. Thanks,
Of course.
everybody.